Sports Minutes with Ziaul Raushan.
Money FM 89.3. It's time for Sports Minutes with me, Ziaul Raushan, back with the recap of Matchweek 3 in the Singapore Premier League with the debatable offside decisions, red cards causing a ruckus and roulettes dominating the headlines. In the company of who else but Deepan Raj Ganesan. Deepan, I'd be lying if I said I haven't missed you.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I missed you, but I miss talking about Singapore football. I'm glad that you had a good break. Welcome back to Singapore football. I think we have so much to talk about.
Plenty to talk about. Lucky for me, I get to do both with you. Enjoy your company as well as talk about Singapore football. Let me quickly recap the results from Matchweek 3. Hougang United losing 2-0 to Geylang International. 9-men Hougang, mind you. The Young Lions falling 2-1 to Balestier. Khalsa, Elijah Lim there with the late winner. And then Monday Night Football in the Singapore Premier League. So the Lion City Sailors thump Tanjong Pagar 7-0. Tanjong Pagar have one game left. That's happening on Thursday, 25th September. But as Deepan alluded to, plenty to talk about. Let's do this chronologically, starting with Friday's match at our Tampines Hub. Would it be too simplistic to say the red card for Anders Aplin changed the game?
I think that sort of is fair because at the end of the day, you want to see 11 against 11 contests. I just want to make this point up front. I thought it was a poor game overall in terms of how both teams approached it. Maybe in a way that the two red cards almost spoiled the game because Geylang could take their foot off the pedal. They didn't really push for it. But even then, they could have got a third, fourth, which we will discuss later on. But I thought overall, in terms of quality, it was neither here nor there. I think Hougang have a lot to improve on. Not just in terms of discipline, as we saw here, but just they look all over the place sometimes. And I know Adam Swandi on commentary, his debut commentary, sort of said that, you know, from what he's seen of Hougang, he feels there's more to come in terms of he's been satisfied by what he's seen. But I beg to differ. I just don't think I've seen enough to think that Hougang are going to be any good this season.
Yeah, plenty of work to be done for the Cheetahs, especially with a certain Akbar Nawas now appointed technical director. We'll talk about that in a while, but as Deepan alluded to, there could have been more goals in this match. Shuhei Hoshino in particular, hard done by the offside flag. Not once, but twice. Correct calls on both occasions?
Yeah, so I think the second one, the one that was near the end of the game, I feel that was onside. Just based on the replays that I've seen, but I just want to add a caveat that, you know, we don't have the access to all angles. So this could have been a case where they could have seen one angle and decided, you know what, it's not clear and obvious enough thing to overrule the on-field decision. That could be it. But from what I saw from the replay that was available to us viewers, I thought it was onside. And then the earlier one, I think Riku Fukashiro was adjudged to have been in the line of sight of the goalkeeper, Zafan, and therefore it was ruled as offside. I didn't even see Zafan protesting the goal. So was he really in the line of sight? You know, would Zafan have prevented the goal if Riku wasn't there? I'm not quite sure. So yeah, it's over-refereeing in my opinion, because if the referee on the field is giving the goal, why is VAR intervening here? So I think two goals that Hoshino should have scored, that was ruled out. And keep in mind, it could have been very important for him and the team because he's the goal getter now. He needs to be the chief goal getter now. And two goals would have really boosted his confidence. So a pity there.
Yeah, it certainly was a pity for Shuhei Hoshino. Line of sight is something, a recurring theme that we'll talk about later when we discuss the Lion City Sailors game. But I want to touch on this. Akbar Nawas appointed technical director at Hougang United. Is that almost inevitable that he now replaces Robert in the near future?
Let's just say nobody will be shocked if that happens. We've seen this before, right? Firdaus and Marco in the years gone by with Coach Philip. We've seen it with Weaver also, I think. So not surprised if it happens. But in terms of Akbar himself, I hope to see him back in the SPL dugout. I think as we all have discussed and talked about at length, too soon his departure from BG Tampines Rovers. And you know, when something like this happens from the outside, you only wish the coach well in terms of the next gig. And yeah, with the way things are going, this could be the next gig for him. But also not the easiest of tasks if he were to come in, because the squad just looks so all over the place at the moment. I mean, with a bunch of Thai players who haven't really stood out, a bunch of players have come from the Cambodian league. Yeah, it's a bit of a mess now, and I'm not sure if anybody who comes in they will have their work cut out. Let's be honest about that. So let's see what happens in the next few weeks.
Yeah, 83 days, that's all Akbar Nawaz got at BG Tampines Rovers. Hopefully Sports Minutes takes lesser to get Akbar Nawaz on the show. We're working on it. Speaking of coaches, Mohammad Noor Ali has succumbed to some medical leave. He was supposed to take charge of the team for the SOS. A missed opportunity, especially for one of the most well-liked coaches in the league.
Yeah, and I think I do feel for him because, I had a conversation with him shortly after he was told that he will take charge of this SOS team. He was pretty emotional because I think for quite some time he's not really been given this opportunity through the FAS, right? For multiple roles, whether it's the Young Lions or any other roles, even the SOS role, right? And I think he saw this opportunity as one where his work was being recognised, and rightly so. I think he had a very good season with the squad the Geylang had last season in terms of there not being enough depth, but he still took the team to where they finished. So he totally deserved this, and but sometimes this happens in football where you get that big break and then something happens, whether it's an injury for a player or in this case a health scare. I wish him the best. I wish him a speedy recovery, a total recovery. Like you mentioned, a very well liked guy, and I like him as a person and as a coach, and I think he brings a lot to our local scene in terms of personality and colour. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I wish him well.
Yeah, absolutely. I speak on behalf of the listeners when we say we wish Mohammad Noor Ali a speedy recovery, and I'm sure the Geylang International fans are hoping the same as well. Let's talk about Sunday's clash between the Young Lions and Balestier. Before we talk about the match itself, my question to you, if it counts as a question, is Ong Yu En. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it took some time for me to recognize that was him. I know I probably catch a glimpse of him during the AFC qualifiers, but for some reason in red just looks in this Young Lions new kid, it looks a bit different and looks a different player as well. I think just confidence does amazing things to a player, and I think that's what he has now. I think when you play with players that you sort of feel a bit more comfortable with in terms of putting your best skills forward, as opposed to being part of a senior team where you're sort of overshadowed by the senior players. Maybe you keep it simple, you don't want to mess things up. But you could see that this confidence is with him at the moment, and he was just asking for the ball, turning, and you saw that roulette turn that he made. Very, very nice to see, because you rarely see this kind of attacking, skillful players in Singapore football these days. It's almost like a throwback where a young player is playing with confidence and freedom. So long may that continue. I know it's just first game, and I know it's Balestier Khalsa, with all due respect to the Tigers. He needs to continue doing this, because I do think in the national team there is a void there in terms of an attacking midfielder, a bona fide number 10 who can take the ball, turn with it, and get forward. We don't really have that. Song sometimes can play that role, but I would love to see Ong Yu En continue this and hopefully get a call up in the future.
Absolutely. Hopefully you've caught up on all the games this past weekend. If you haven't, though, that one roulette is something you cannot miss from Ong Yu En.
Yeah, just another player to highlight. I thought Spence was terrific down that right flank for Young Lions. In fact, at some point of the game, I wanted to tweet, hey, this guy could be a player for the Lion City Sailors, because he is almost a bit similar to Maxime Lestienne in terms of...
I was hoping you wouldn't say that, but you're absolutely right.
The style, because of just how he... is a demeanor on the ball, off the ball. So, and I really like him because he was always looking forward, always looking to play the pass in behind the Balestier defense, always trying to take on his defender. And I love this kind of players. I hope to see more of him, and hopefully he develops into someone that the Sailors will benefit from in the future years.
You talk about two standout players for the Young Lions, Ong Yu En as well as Spence. Unfortunately for the Young Lions, they succumbed to that late winner, Elijah Lim thunderbolt. I'm not sure if it's a thunderbolt because it sort of sailed into the net. What a goal to clinch all 3 points.
Yeah, what a goal. I think I speak for many when I say that we didn't know that Elijah had that in his locker. But now we know. Yeah, I mean, good for him. It's always nice to see a local turning up as a match winner off the bench, and this was that, right? So kudos to him, kudos to Balestier. I think it wasn't an easy game for them. I think a lot of people may underrate or not think too highly of the Young Lions, but I think they've got a good squad this time. I was really impressed by Sergio Mendoca, the forward as well, held the ball up quite well. Not so much a good debut for the captain. In fact, I think he was quite bad in that game. I mean, let's just say it as it is. But I think, again, a lot of these foreigners that are coming into the league, and I think we'll talk about another foreigner who didn't enjoy the best of games a bit later on. But you got to give them time. I've said this time and again on this show, and I've also called out a lot of these knee-jerk reactions that we see online and on Telegram, for example. Got to give these players time because it's not easy. I mean, the weather is just one thing. It's just the pitch that you play on. I mean, they've played on grass pitches all their life, and then suddenly coming into artificial pitch, especially the ones as bad as they are as in our Tampines Hub at the moment. I mean, you see the games now, and you look at how the ball bounces on the pitch. It's not easy, and sometimes it affects. If you play the game, it will affect the pass. It will affect how you control the ball. So let's give these foreign players time. I mean, a lot of our local fans are willing to give local players 10 years to find themselves, right? So why not give foreign players a few months to get settled? So I think there's more to come for all these players. Even your Balestier foreigners, I think there's still more to come. But I'm very impressed by a few of them. Tim Matic looks like a great player. But yeah, all these teams are only going to get better. So it was an important 3 points at this stage for Balestier Khalsa.
Let me talk to you about Young Lions, though. You talk about them passing the eye test. You're optimistic in terms of the players they have, the personnel they have, the playing style maybe. But results-wise, they're still looking for their first victory under Firdaus Qasim, right? Knee-jerk is the term for this season, I guess. Are there knee-jerk reactions saying even someone like Firkas can't save the Young Lions?
Yeah, I don't know about that one because, first of all, I just want to address, I think there have been some factions calling for Firdaus's head already, which I find mind-boggling because, sorry, but what are we expecting from this group of players actually? Like in terms of the talent that we have at this moment, are we expecting them to be beating the likes of Yemen? I mean, of course, let's be honest. I think the Bangladesh result had to be better. I think Firdaus will concede that it should have been better. I mean, at halftime, it seemed like it was going to be a close game, and then somehow one goal went in and the heads dropped. That's a mentality thing. It's going to take time. A coach is not going to come in and say, "Hey, we're going to be better and we're going to have better mentality." It doesn't just happen overnight. It's going to take time. In terms of Firdaus, I think he needs time. I don't think this SEA Games or this season should necessarily be the barometer to judge him by. If you want to say remove Firdaus Qasim, then appoint who? Because you can say someone a bit more experienced and whatnot, but will he have the same effect as Firdaus has on the players? And when you talk about effect on the players, that again takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. So let's wait a while. I mean, I think in terms of identity, in terms of sort of a different Young Lions, I think we can already see that in some facets of play. But it's only going to get better and a bit more pronounced as the weeks go by. It's not easy to have a team of young players, a core of young players playing against established professionals. That's already a disadvantage. So let's give him and the coaching staff time. And again, coaching staff, I think you've seen some pictures now of the whole coaching staff. They're all new. It's not going to change. Doesn't happen overnight, and this coaching staff, they have to work longer in a longer period with these players for these players to benefit from the coaching, because at this moment you can only say that these players have worked under different coaches before this. Maybe yes, some of them at Sailors Under 21 with Firdaus and most of this coaching staff, but at this level, in terms of most of the players that are playing, they've not worked with him before. So let's give it some time and support these boys while we can.
Yeah, the Young Lions have a chance to get it right when they take on Tanjong Pagar on Thursday, 25th September. That's because the Jaguars got thumped 4-7 by the Sailors. You've said on this show before that the Sailors need to be attractive. They can't just be effective. Was this a sign?
I mean, if the sign is if they can play Tanjong Pagar every week, then yeah, of course, I think they can be attractive. But I mean, jokes aside, I liked what I saw in terms of the movement, and I think there's been a bit of a tactical change with the Sailors in recent weeks. I see that they're now deploying more of a 4-4-2 in possession than they used to back then with the 3 or 5 man backline, whatever you call it. And I like this approach because I think you can take a more defensive approach in ACL2 matches, but I think with the talent that they have, I like this approach of playing this almost 4-4-2 like formation. It brings out the best in Bart, as we have seen. It brings out the best in Song, as we have seen. Maxim gets a bit more involved in games. That's what you always want to see, and I think the striker is benefiting mostly from it because now, defenders have got to see a more central Shawwal running through the spaces, and then Leonard gets a bit more of space, and he benefited from that. Another good thing for the Sailors, of course, is Anderson Lopez finding the score sheet. 2 goals for him, and hopefully he has the Leonard T effect where Leonard struggled and then he got a few goals and then has never looked back. So hopefully for them, and you know what, fans would love to see it for a longer period, Leonard and Anderson Lopez playing up front. I think that's scary times for people.
Yeah, it's a mouth-watering prospect, especially if you're a Sailors fan. You talk about Anderson Lopez getting those goals. I dare say some of them were handed to him on a silver platter because Tanjong Pagar, for all their foreign signings, for all the statements they made heading into the season, is Groundhog Day.
Yeah, I mean, I think we expected more from them, but I think a bit of context, I think they're missing quite a number of players at the moment in terms of their foreigners. So I think they can only play with what they have at the moment. I don't think the plan going into the season was to see Raihan Rahman as a central midfielder for them. So I think that's quite a big task for Raihan, especially against the people that he's playing with, or playing against rather. I mean, when you have Raihan's caliber, I think, let's be honest, I think if Tanjong Pagar have a better central midfield, they can probably prevent a bit more goals and get a bit more possession of the games. But yeah, things have got to be better. I think we talked about debuts. Evans didn't have the best of debuts, but like I say again, I think they're all settling in. But I think it would have been quite the signal for him that this is not a league that you can come in and say that we can qualify for ACL too. I think the quality is not what he may thought it was, and maybe this is that wake-up call to him that he might need, or maybe even his teammates need, because I think it's been a tough fixture list for Tanjong Pagar to start with Tampines and then Sailors. But now they've really got to step it up because the game against Young Lions, they've got to win it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Maybe Thursday is the barometer for Tanjong Pagar. They take on the Young Lions. That's happening Thursday, 25th September. The Young Lions are in action against 2nd October against Hougang. The rest of the league is taking a bit of a backseat as the SOS takes centre stage, and then that double header against India. Deepan, I'm sure I'll have you on again. Thank you so much for canvassing your opinions today.
Thank you, Raushan.
Sports Minutes on Money FM 89.3.